Welcome to the Females Across the Pond and Beyond podcast. Hi, I'm Clara.
Hi, I'm Angie. We're here to share all things email and beyond. We go through the trials and tribulations of running your own business, being your own boss, and sending your own email marketing.
As email marketing experts, we're dedicated to helping small businesses thrive so they can have more freedom in their business.
Ready to get started? Let's dive into the episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Females Across the Pond and Beyond podcast.
Hello.
Hello. Today we're going to be talking about the common misconceptions about email marketing. So we're going to be whizzing through those and giving our thoughts and feedback. But before we do, I want to hear from you, Angie. How are you and how was your weekend?
Well, the weekend was really good. I actually had some me time. I hung out with a friend, which I don't get to do a lot as a mom of two young children. Um, and so that was nice. I also had a baby shower over Zoom for another entrepreneur friend that we
Ah,
have to get Audrey, uh, um, that we met was in our same coaching program in which we met. So that was really fun. And yeah, so it was nice to like get to do some girly things. What about you?
um, we went to see a film, the Hugh Grant film. It's called Heretic. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, I
It's
haven't
about,
heard of it, but I like
it's
the
quite
title.
scary. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's, Hugh Grant, right?
Oh, yeah.
He plays quite a dark character in this, but it's so interesting. It's like two Mormon girls turn up at his doorstep and they go into his, like, I won't give it all away, but it's just really, really interesting. It's about religion. Um,
Oh,
yeah, really interesting.
yeah.
It's a psychological thriller, I'd say.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I'll
I
have to check it
recommend
out.
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do it. It's good.
I will.
And in other news, we've obviously had a change of government or about to in the States.
Mm. Yes.
Surprise. Was that a
Surprise.
surprise to you that he's back?
I was really surprised because everything that happened almost 4 years ago, the insurrection, um, how he's become a felon since then, the rape, the sexual assault
Oh,
charges, all of that stuff, uh, um, and all the things that have come out since he's been in office where his generals and his cabinet and everyone who worked with him was like he is unfit, he should not be in the office of presidency. Um so I was really surprised, but then what's going on in the world as far as the economy, Americans kind of think to themselves, well, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I don't have a lot of money right now. I want a change. And like that's just as far as it goes for them. So I think it was really just about, wanting a change in hopes that we would, get some more money in our pockets. I have no idea, to be honest. But yeah, I was really surprised, really disappointed. And yeah, I don't know. How did you guys feel about it over in the United Kingdom?
I think I know a lot of people stayed up all night to watch it because for us it
Oh
was like
yeah, it was
overnight.
like late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And it's disappointment, I think. Like
Yep.
I didn't expect the polls were like 50-50, and then to hear that he's won. And then I watched his victory speech when I woke up, and I just couldn't believe how
I know.
appalling his speech was. There was
Yeah.
no, it was like someone maybe had prepared something for him and he ripped it up and decided to go freestyle.
Oh,
And I,
always.
and at one point I was like, what is he talking about? Something to do with
Hmm.
spaceships.
Yeah, he just
Just,
rambles and goes off into nonsense all of the time. And which is like very interesting too, because like the whole thing against Biden before he dropped out was that he's so old and that, he's slow
yeah.
and like forgetting his memory. Whereas like we see that in Trump as well. Trump is just as old as Biden and rambling off. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm honestly gonna I don't know what else to do. I feel like I want to tune out because the last time Trump was in office, it was just a circus. It was just a roller
Yeah.
coaster of emotions. And that's why we got Joe Biden into the presidency because we were, exhausted from it. And that apparently not too exhausted. Um,
Yeah.
but
It's just so frustrating, but it
yeah,
is what it is now. I guess like from January he'll be in.
the
It's
scariest thing is that Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. That's the
Oh,
scariest
I didn't
thing.
know that. Wow. So a lot of
Yes.
power sits within the Republicans.
Yeah. And
I've
if those Christian nationalists get what they want, then it could be very scary.
You need to move to the UK. I'm not saying it's any better here, but
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. I'm just like, man, if I was on my own, if I didn't have my kids, it just feels so hard to like even think about
yeah,
going somewhere else.
it's a big deal. It's a big
Um,
deal.
Hopefully it doesn't come down to that, right?
I hope not. Yeah. I hope that there's some positive things that happened since the last time he was in presidency and there were lessons learned. I
Yeah.
hope. I hope.
Yeah. Everyone seems to think that he's going to be our savior, so bring it on. Save
Yeah, we'll
us.
see. We'll see.
Yeah, I
We
highly
will
doubt it.
see.
Yep.
Well, on that note, let's dive into the today's episode. So we're going to be talking about top misconceptions about email marketing. Now, what's interesting about these before we dive in is that you may have heard these misconceptions previously. You may have heard them recently, or this may be something that you actually believe. And we just want to break down and challenge and actually debunk those misconceptions. So we're going to whiz through quite a few myths. If there's anything we've missed today, we'd love to hear from you. If there's anything you think, actually, this comes up a lot for me, we would love to hear what that is. But hopefully today we cover the main ones. So should we dive in?
Let's do it.
All right. So myth one, email marketing is outdated. Do you want to take
Or
this one?
email marketing is dead.
Yeah, that's another one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we get this one a lot. It's really interesting. I think it's because email marketing has been around for a really long time now. Like, I mean, I don't know how many years, but, a few decades. And it's still the number one channel to sell through. Still, all of the data keeps coming out every year, and it's still like you get the best return on investment through email marketing. Even over TikTok, over Instagram, over Facebook, over ads, over, your website, just direct on your website, Google, all the things, search. Email marketing still takes the cake as number one. So, I mean, that's one of those data over drama, right? Go with the data.
Yeah, and I think this is something that's said without any evidence to back it up. Like
Right.
we hear this like from people that are running TikTok campaigns, but you still don't see the same returns. So I think email is very much alive. And, just think about the last time you checked your email. When was it? For me, it was
But 5
today.
minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An hour ago for me.
I
So
haven't been on TikTok today. So there you go.
yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I do get sent stuff from friends by friends, and I occasionally have a look.
Yeah.
But it depends on what your business goals are. Um, okay, let's go on to myth number two. No one reads emails anymore. It's kind of linked to what we were just talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of people get a little jaded about their own inboxes because they have so many emails in there from businesses that they're just like not interested in buying from.
Mhm.
So they tend to focus on that aspect of emails rather than focusing on, well, you do keep signing up for emails. And when
Yeah.
you sign up for an email, you typically are opening and reading those emails. So, I mean, again, it goes back to the data, right? Data shows that 99% of people open their emails every day, most of those people multiple times a day. You betcha they're reading at least some of those emails. And then open rates, right? I mean, we know open rates are a little inflated these days, but still around 25 to 30% of people are actually reading your emails. Whereas with social media, your visibility, I think like the highest you get is maybe 10% of your audience will see that you posted something. So the visibility alone is just mind-boggling as far as email marketing goes. So yeah, what would you say to that?
I think it's completely untrue. Like people read emails. It's just whether they're reading your emails and as to there's a number of reasons why they might not be, but generally
Yeah.
speaking, people are reading emails. They're absolutely reading emails. Businesses are making lots of money
Hmm.
from their email marketing. It can generate up to half your or half the revenue for your business, if not more. Um, so yeah, we don't believe that is true. Let's look at myth number three. So email marketing is too expensive for small businesses. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it really depends on fitting it into your budget. You have to have a budget. I would say have a budget for the number one online sales channel. Like,
Yeah,
if you want to sell things online, have a budget for email marketing
yeah.
and then make it fit within your budget. And I think there's also like this misconception of, oh my gosh, I'm going to invest, in someone to do email marketing for me when the return on investment for email marketing on average is $42 for every $1 you spend, So say you spend $100 on something with email marketing, on average, people are getting $4,200 from that. So I think we have to keep into perspective that emails are an investment and you do see those return. And then going back to the budget, what would you say to small business owners?
I would say that if you were just starting out or you have a very small list, email marketing is actually free. Whether you choose to hire someone, obviously there's a cost there, but that can really help speed things up for you.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, actually, it's one of the most cost-effective solutions out there. If you compare it to Facebook ads, there is no cost. As you start to increase your list size, let's say you have 1,000 plus people, then you will be paying per subscriber. Um, but on the whole, starting out or with a small list, email marketing is free. And that's the big misconception. People think it's going to be so expensive. And
Mm,
you get a lot of platforms for free for those smaller lists. And then when we get into the paying, the subscriber paid for um, size businesses, it's still very cost effective, given what it, as Angie mentioned, what you get back in return. So if we look at it with a fair lens against other channels, it's actually one of the best performing in terms of a return on investment.
absolutely. Do you want me to take the next few?
Yeah, go for it.
Um, all right. Myth number four. You need a large email list in order to sell
Mhm.
through emails.
This Right, so let me take this one. So a lot of the time it still is about quality over quantity, and it just really depends on your business. So if you are an e-commerce brand and you're selling low ticket items like, I don't know, um, maybe affordable skincare or toothbrushes, whatever it is, you want volume and you want to be sending out to a large list in order to make your revenue. If you are a service provider and you have high ticket packages like courses or strategy calls, then quality is so important because you want to be able to sell to people that want to buy your products, and you don't need a large list to do that. So all you need is a large list is really dependent on the type of business. I would say on the whole, quality is better than quantity. You want the people on there to be really engaged with your brand.
Yeah, it really, like you said, it really depends on your average order value, and understanding that, that's going to play a factor into how much you make off of each email. Because, like, what is the stat is that, like, maybe, and this isn't, I mean, this is a generic stat. As far as e-commerce, it's typically known that like 0.1% placed order rate is pretty normal on a campaign. So that's how many people place an order versus how many people receive the email. It's 0.1%. So that can feel quite small, especially if you have a small list. Then it's like, okay, well, how many emails does it take for me to get to that
Mm,
0.1% to that yes? If you have a list of 100 people, it might be like 5 emails, in order to get
yeah.
a sale. But even in e-commerce world, if your average order value is like $200, $300, like the further up it goes, then that just like works in your benefit too, even if you have a small list too. So think about ways in which you can increase your average order value too, as well, because that'll maximize your email
Mm,
efforts. But to go back to your point, yes, it's not all about list size. It's really more about who's on your list. Are they ideal
yeah.
clients? I mean, I've seen lists of 12,000 people that like aren't buying, and I've seen
Yeah.
lists of 500 people that are buying. It really does make a difference of making sure you're getting the right people onto your list.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next one, myth number 5. Email marketing results are instant.
Yeah, so this is my answer is it depends. So if you are running a flash sale, you are likely to get the results pretty quickly. Say for example, we have Black Friday coming up and you're running a flash sale, a special Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend offer. You can expect to see the results of that within that week window.
Yeah.
However, if you are running a campaign that is all about nurturing a relationship, particularly in the B2B space, maybe the product itself or the service is, let's say it's like, I don't know, $15,000 a time. That's going to be a big decision for someone to make. And so, therefore, the results may not be instant, but you're building that relationship. You're getting to know that ideal client, they're getting to know you, and then maybe 6 months down the line they make the sale, they make the decision to buy. So it really depends on the role that email is playing for you, what the goal is. But it can be, yes, it can be short term, and yes, it can be long term.
I think that's a fine line to ride and be aware of, because a lot of times when businesses are expecting and looking for short-term results, they get into the habit of having a lot of sales.
Yeah,
And what we see is when you have a sale after sale after sale and you're, just completely cutting into your margins, people start to expect those sales, then they don't buy without those sales, and then you just get stuck,
yeah,
having to do sales all the time. So, email marketing is a great place to have long-term success as well as instant success. And you will get more long-term success if you, like Clara said, focus on nurturing people and don't always go for the sale.
yeah, absolutely.
Myth number 6. Frequent emails annoy subscribers. Oh, this is probably the one that I hear the most. I don't know
Yeah, and
about you.
I actually have heard both ends of the spectrum. So I don't want to send too many emails because I'm going to annoy my subscribers. The honest answer is, unless you're sending every day, um, you are not going to annoy your subscribers. So if you're sending, and it's to all of you, including some of my clients actually that start off with the once a month approach.
Mm,
And I get that because it's
mhm.
scary. Sending your first email, you want to slowly introduce email, but we need to build up to an increased frequency because once a month, if you think, can you remember an email from a month ago? Like
No,
it's a long time. And
no.
so we need to be sending more frequently. We want to be getting to weekly. And then when you're running something like an offer or a promotion, you want to do increase your frequency. So the misconception here is that I want to smash is that it's not going to annoy your subscribers if you're increasing your frequency to weekly. But what's really important to think about is don't send the same email 4 times in a month. Think about how you can create content pillars that people want to hear about. So if you're an e-commerce brand, you can have one that is maybe latest products, one that is what are the big trends in your industry, one that is behind the scenes, or maybe one about your community so that you've got this
Yeah.
rotation of content pillars. So don't feel that by increasing your frequency, people are going to get annoyed. Not everyone's going to read all emails, and that's just the way it is. And we have to accept that's just the medium of email as it is with other channels. But once a month isn't enough to cut through.
Yeah. Actually, data shows that businesses who send about 2 to 3 emails a week have the highest click rates.
Yeah,
People are more engaged when you're sending more emails. That's just because they're seeing you, they're seeing your content. And especially for those people that are interested in buying, are interested in hearing about you, especially after they join your email list, that's an indication that, they are interested and subconsciously they're open to buying. And if they don't hear from you, they're going to forget about you or they're going to go elsewhere. They
yeah,
want to get information, and it is up to you to give them that information, education, and value, um, since they are on your list. That's why they're on your list, and they can get
exactly.
off at any time. Anyone can
Yeah.
unsubscribe at any time.
And if you think about it, you've only got 12 shots to reach people. And if you
Yeah, that's
think,
crazy.
and then if you think, let's say your open rate is 30 or 40%, you're only really going to be reaching them for 3 or 4 months. Like it's not enough.
Oof.
It's not
Yeah.
enough. So
Yeah. What
we
was
need to
that?
be
That
upping that.
the copywriter Chris Orzakowski, he was like, okay, if you're sending one email a month, you get 12 shots to make a sale. If I'm sending 4 emails a month, what is that? 48? I get 48 shots. Like, who's gonna win?
Yeah,
Me. I'm gonna
exactly.
win. You
Yeah,
know? So it's a numbers game in that way.
definitely. Definitely.
All right.
Should we look at the next myth? Myth
Yes.
number 7, personalization doesn't matter. What are your thoughts?
Uh, well, we know again, if we're going back to data, we know that when there is personalization involved, when you are segmenting, when you are sending emails based to somebody based on like actions that they took or whatever it is, that those get way higher placed order rates, higher engagement. People respond really, really well to personalization. And I think I saw a stat too that most people expect their emails now to be personalized. And if they aren't, they're disappointed in it.
Yeah,
So we did an episode, what, a few weeks ago where we were like, don't spray and pray. Don't
yeah,
send the same email to the whole list.
yeah,
And this is why.
yeah. I mean, look, standards have raised over the past few years, and we're starting to collect more about people, whether they've
Yeah.
visited our website, so we
Mhm.
know what they're doing, and therefore we can use that data to make that email experience much better. Um, so personalization does matter for sure.
You know what's really interesting too is I get pushback that that's creepy. It's creepy if I get
Yeah,
if I send them an abandoned cart email. It's creepy if I saw that they were active on site. I'm like, they like that stuff the best.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's when you need to put like your own feelings aside
yeah.
about email marketing. Because if not, then you're just costing your business money. Not
And
cool.
I feel like that feels quite outdated now in terms of that because I think people are so used to that with other
Yeah.
brands. It's like
It's
it's the
so
norm.
normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
don't worry about that.
Mm-mm.
What do we have? Email, myth number 8, email content must always be promotional.
Please
Mm.
don't. Please don't. No. I mean, there's ways to sell without selling. There's ways to talk about your products where you're still making it about the customer, how it benefits the customer, highlighting customer stories. You can sell literally through every email, but it's all about how you are positioning that sale in the email and the content that you are sending in that email. So I would say it should rarely be promotional. I don't know how you would feel about that, but it should rarely be like, buy from us, we're having a sale, blah, 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 blah. And more so, let's tell a story. Let's, talk about the benefits. Let's engage people, let's nurture them, and then lead them to decide, I want this product or I want this service. That's the best way to sell, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think when you, especially in e-commerce business, and you rely on discounts all the time, it's a
Yes.
drug, and it becomes really hard to come off it. It's like you get addicted to the promotions and offering discounts, and it's very hard then when you go full price. And that's a decision you need to make as a business if that's who you are as a brand. Um, but in terms of email content always being promotional, I think, the other myth that we talked about annoying subscribers, this is going to annoy
This is annoying.
subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Uh-huh.
isn't, you're always on sale, you're always pushing promotional, you're not getting to know who your subscribers are, you're not telling a story. There's we want to be nurturing them. Remember, they're not necessarily going to be ready to buy or they've just bought, and that, we need to be figuring out where they are in the buyer's journey. Um, so being promotional all the time can be very annoying, and therefore we want to mix it up with other types of content.
Absolutely. Myth number 9, GDPR and other regulations make email marketing too complicated.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
understand that. What about you?
Yeah, I can see how people feel that way, especially when GDPR was first launched. I think there was this fear of like, how do we even approach this? But actually, it's not as complicated as you think. And if you have a business where you are worried about how you use customer data, then, in the UK, we have the ICO, the um, the Commissioner's Office. And I've completely forgotten the I of that ICO. It'll come to me.
It's
Um,
okay. You can Google it.
Yeah, I will. I'm a member actually, and I recommend that if you have any nervousness around this, but really what it boils down to is being transparent about how you're going to use that data, the data you're collecting. So say, for example, you land on someone's website, they ask you for your email address. Do they make it clear why and what they're going to do with that data and why? Do they make it clear as to why you're signing up? Like, what will you get in return? So these are some simple things that small businesses can do to make it really clear. And how are you collecting opt-ins? As long as you can show it in your email platform that you've received consent for that person to receive your newsletters, then you are fine. Um, so making it really transparent as to why, uh, what people are going to get when they sign up for your newsletter. We can't just take email addresses without, you know, having that transparency. Is there
Yeah,
anything
and
you want to add?
that's just having, on the sign up form, sign up for our emails to get XYZ, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And talk about the frequency and like what they'll receive and those, we want to make it clear what people are getting so people
yeah.
understand. Um, and I think the whole GDPR and the other regulations have made people quite nervous. And I think if you are nervous about this, then hire someone for a
Yeah.
consultancy call that
Hmm.
can give you that advice where they can run through with you, you know, your setup and make sure you are compliant. But this should not stop you from doing email marketing. Absolutely not.
No. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's so much information out there on what you need. It's really just like 4 or 5 things that you just need to have. And I'm sure that most people already have that stuff. Like you have to have an unsubscribe link. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
pretty normal stuff that you are probably already having inside of your sign up forms and things like that. So, um, yeah, don't let it stop you
No.
because as we've talked about, the revenue is just so worth it.
Mm.
All right.
Is it me? It's the myth
Sure, go
10.
ahead. Yeah.
You can't measure the success of email marketing.
Ah,
Do you
what
know
do you
how to
mean?
measure?
What
Do
do
you
you
know? So,
mean?
so this is a big myth. So people don't believe. that you can measure the success of email marketing, or is it that people don't know how to measure the success of email marketing? What are your thoughts?
You don't have it set up. You don't have a Google Analytics account. Or, if you're on Klaviyo, you can measure the success if it's connected to your store. So it's more so about connecting your account to so that it can be reported because it absolutely can be reported. What is it? I mean, I don't want to get too deep into technical, but there are links attached to every email that can be tracked. That's how we know somebody's on your website. Like, how do we know someone's on your website? How do we know someone, you know, put something into their cart? So there are things in place to track what your subscribers are doing, and who is ordering and buying from your email marketing. So you need to set up a Google Analytics account, or you could. Most email accounts have that information available too, as far as setting it up and integrating with your website. So it's just a matter of making sure that your integrations are set with your website. And again, if you don't know how to do that, it is so worth it to hire someone, even just to like take an hour to set it up for you. It's
Yeah.
really not going to be that big of a project. And it's going to make such a big difference because then you'll actually know how much money your emails are making.
Yeah, and you know what? If you are just starting out and you're on something like MailerLite or, even Klaviyo, if you're selling products, um, it's all in the platform. You
Yeah.
don't need to do much more. Like it's actually there. And key metrics for measuring success, well, your open rate, your click rate,
Yeah.
tell us a lot. Um, Whether you have your sales within the platform depends on your business. Not all do. Service providers, unless they're selling digital products, it might be that you're recording that elsewhere. But you can certainly see how people are engaging with your email. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I always go to like money. But you're absolutely
yeah.
right. But I will say, Clara, there are some platforms that they don't have good like
Oh,
analytics
yeah. Yeah,
reporting.
yeah, yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's also an issue. Like, I don't understand that at all. I don't understand why any email platform would not have a good analytics report. That how are small businesses supposed to get better at their email marketing? If
Yeah.
they can't see how their emails are performing, that is just mind-boggling to me. And I think
Yeah.
that might be playing into this misconception because they don't know where to find it.
Yeah. And I think actually at a very basic level, like you can see, and one thing I kind of encourage my clients to do is actually take a 7 day view. Like I give it 7 days, but you can always check it, say, around 3 days as well. Um, if you check on day one, it's too early. You need to give people time to read emails. Like I like to go back to an email if I haven't had time to read it. So we want to give enough time for the email to be read. But you can absolutely measure the success of email marketing. That's one of the great things about it. Like I love other channels like PR, but you can't measure it really, not as effectively, or
Yeah.
even like press advertising. It's difficult, it's more difficult. With email, it's actually really straightforward. Um, so hopefully that will banish that myth. Um, so we have come to the end of our myths today. Um, we wanted to give you enough to go on in terms of understanding that these myths, we want to debunk these myths and help you understand that email marketing is a lot easier than you think. Did we
Mhm.
list your misconception, or do you have one in mind that is still bothering you and perhaps stopping you from starting? We would love to hear from you. There are so many of the common ones we've talked about today that get wheeled out. And, Angie and I have covered why we believe they're completely untrue.
Mhm.
So we would love to hear from you. Anything else you want to say, Angie, before we wrap up?
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think maybe one myth that we didn't really touch on, which like is just pinging me right now, is that emails have to be long, they have to be professional, they
Yeah.
have to be a whole thing. Um, I think that's probably one last thing that people also believe. Or they have to be like super formal and like they have to look like the designed well and the best. And like they don't. Like they could literally be like two sentences.
Yeah,
um, they could be very
absolutely.
simple. So sorry. I know that we're wrapping up, but I just had
No,
that thought in my mind.
it's a good one. No, it's a good one. And actually, people do think that the emails need to be incredibly long. They don't.
Oh,
Like I actually prefer
the
my
shorter the
attention
better.
span. Yeah. Our attention spans are short, like they're shorter than ever. I think
Yeah.
it's like two something seconds. Like we need to be able to get through that email. So
Hmm.
skimmable text, breaking up content with design, images. These are things that can help.
Yeah.
So we would love to hear from you. If you have any other misconceptions that are bothering you, please do reach out to us. And thank you so much for listening. So you've been listening to Females Across the Pond and Beyond with Angie and Clara. Thank you
All
for
right.
listening.
Have a good day, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you soon. You've just listened to Females Across the Pond and Beyond podcast with your hosts, Clara and Angie. If you like our content, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on the platform of your choice. Is there something you want to hear about for our next episode? Email us at femalesacrossthepond@gmail.com to let us know. Until next time.